Early in the count, we saw last night how often they would swing at the first pitch. But with these three guys all swinging the bats really well, Pagan, Pence, and Posey, you got to be on top of your game.
And boy, Teheran has been on top of his game. Last three, an ERA of 0.38 for Atlanta. We hope that continues tonight as Angel Pagan leads things off for the Giants. He's got a 6-game hitting streak and hit his 3rd home run to start the game last night. And Teheran delivers a strike, and we're underway. .75 degrees, a breeze blowing from left to right, not a cloud in the sky in Atlanta. Perfect weather for baseball. And that's a little low for an even count.
The shot you're seeing right now, the adjustment that Julio has made, you look at his feet on the rubber, that was over towards the first base side of the rubber last year. He's made an adjustment with his feet. It allows the leverage and the angles for his pitches to be even better towards the hitter. So that fastball right there, last year he would get underneath it. It would have more sink. It would get underneath and the hitter would square it up. This year with his slider and the ability to have the angle and compete on the outside part of the plate against a left-hander and vice versa with the slider to a right-hander, I truly believe that's why that difference right there with his feet has made all the world in the difference for his success factor. And credit to him as a young player to be able to make that adjustment that quick, because his whole life he probably pitched a certain way, and this change is significant.
Another tip of the cap to Roger McDowell for helping point that out too.
It's down and in for Pagan. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We talked about how little things mean a lot for an offense. Amazing how much of a difference moving 3-4 inches to another side of the pitching rubber can make for a man on the mound.
It really is. And again, he throws a little bit across his body. And the one thing, when you're a sinker baller like a Maddox or Tim Hudson, you want to be on the first base side. You want that angle to be more of your favor against the hitter, so you don't have to throw across your body to get it to certain places. Now he can go direct line with that fastball, and it's staying on plane.
Fly ball, shallow center. B.J. Upton comes galloping in. And he makes the play. Pagan's retired for out number 1. Explain what on plane means from a pitching standpoint.
Well, you know, when you would think it's a straight line between you and the catcher. So when your catcher puts a target on, if it's a right-handed hitter like we have right here and he wants to go away to a right-handed hitter, that's not exactly a straight line. It's more of an angle. And he has the leverage with his slider to start it on the inside part of the plate and sweep it away. If you're on the first base side of the rubber, you've got to throw it into a right-hander to get it away. That percentage of success rate goes down, in my opinion. But vice versa, as you see that slider and that angle, if he's on the other side and he's a sinker baller, then he wants that leverage, which would be a fastball going into a right-hander away from a left-hander. So it really, you maximize your strengths and you use those leverages by where you angle your feet on the rubber. And that's one of the things that Roger McDowell was talking about to him last year. And you can see now that's not on the first base side. That's more towards the third base side. And it just gives him better angles. When you have numbers like he has and control the left-handed hitter, that's one of the things you always want as a right-handed pitcher.
He had Pence off stride, and Hunter pops it back into the seats. Foul.
Because one side is going to be more dominant typically. You know, you're going to face more left-handers. So they're going to have a higher rate of success normally. But coming into this game, he's owned left-handed batters. Yeah. A 186 average.
A ball and 2 strikes for Hunter Pence. Wonder if they had trouble finding socks long enough for his uniform.
I was just checking him out. He's still going with that above the knee look. I think he's a wide receiver for the 49ers. That's hilarious.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And Teheran got him to swing and miss. Pence is retired, 2 up and 2 men down.
So this is a great example of being able to see that's a fastball. Nope, it's a slider. And that's what the hitter doesn't recognize now, that he can throw the fastball at a certain level and height, and then he can follow it with a consistent break on that slider. Sometimes earlier last year, some of those would back up. They wouldn't be as sharp.
He's throwing a couple of different speeds of slider, too, and that was a good off-speed, slower version that kept Pence off stride.
Here's Buster Posey, and he shoots one into right field. Hayward in the sunshine plays that on a hop. And Posey has a 2-out single for the first hit of the game for the Giants. A rare offer for Buster Posey in this ballpark last night. He entered play hitting .400 in his career at Turner Field. So that'll bring up Michael Morse.
The other thing that Julio's done real well, he's come out of the gate. First inning, team's only hitting 150 in his first innings. You know, setting the tone like a ninth inning type tone, and getting in that dugout, getting 3 outs before, and hoping that your team can respond with some runs. So he establishes himself as a young pitcher, and he's not afraid to mix and match in the strike zone, and as you said, change speeds and pitch.
We talk a lot about pitchers who don't get off to a good start and come out of the bullpen not looking like they were completely warmed up. He's not one of them.
Michael Morse is a mountain of a man. As I said earlier, he muscled a homer over the fence in right last night for his 7th home run of the season.
He's going with some Bermuda shorts tonight, too.
Yeah. Huh. Morse 6'5", 245 pounds. Giants signed him to a 1-year contract. Trying to help an anemic offense last year. He's helped. Line to second. Check the webbing, Dan. Teheran gives up a 2-out hit and nothing else to the Giants in the top of the first. Toyota starting 9 has Freddie Freeman in the 3-hole at first base. Justin Upton has had good luck for the Braves at home. Gaddis, Johnson, Uggla, Simmons, and Teheran round out the starting 9.
Well, Ryan Vogelsong, as you see the numbers on the last game, but he had been struggling coming up to this point. His velocity's starting to pick up. He's been pitching backwards a little bit, meaning he's been getting behind hitters and having success. That usually doesn't last very long. So for the Braves, they need to work the count and certainly use the count to their advantage.
His 4 keys to pitching success. Number 1, he's had some road problems. He lost it at Los Angeles, 4 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs. He lost at Colorado, didn't get out of the 2nd inning. 6 hits, 5 runs, and 3 walks. Slow starter. He's had some trouble in the 1st inning with a high batting average against him. And like John said, he's a nibbler. He's a guy who just tries to work off the plate a little bit to see if he'll chase.
First pitch of the game is swung on by Jason Hayward, and he'll sky it to left. Morse is there. 1 pitch and 1 man out.
Vogelsong standing out there in that sea lion uniform looks like the reincarnation of Rube Waddell.
I always found it interesting when you start an inning trying to pick the mind or guess what the leadoff hitter's trying to do. Now that was a game plan approach. You had to think he was going up there looking to hit the first pitch fastball. He made a good first pitch, popped him up. But that cat and mouse game of how a guy's going to start the game and what is he going to do and what is the rest of the hitters going to do. Typically you want your leadoff hitter in a perfect world to see a few pitches to kind of gauge what kind of stuff he has. In other words, when the guy made the first pitch out, I was a happy customer.
It's going to be a good day.
It would seem that way. It's a good start. 1 pitch, 1 out.
New look for B.J. Upton. His new sports-specific eyeglasses have come in. Better field of vision, he said. He doesn't have to worry about the nose piece interfering with his sight. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Talking with BJ before the game about the new glasses, he said the problem he had with the old ones, they fogged up. these lenses, he told me, are much more resistant to that. Base is empty. 1-2 pitch. And popped up. Shallow right. Here comes Pence. Hunter's got it. And there's out number 2.
Well, for the people at home, they sit at home, and I'm sure that's easy to make, I don't know, guesses on why somebody's doing something. But in the game of baseball, whether it's a pitcher or a hitter, if you're a fraction off in anything, it's going to look uglier. It's going to look like, how did he miss that pitch? How did he not throw that 3-0 pitch there or 2? And I think mechanically, when you're searching, I don't care what position it is, it's never going to look pretty. It's going to look worse. It's going to look like there's a loop in the swing, or you're just out in front when you're trying to throw a pitch with your front shoulder trying to stay in. So I know it can be frustrating at home, but once a player finds his mechanics, that's when I think progress is made. Up until that time, he's just searching.
Freddie Freeman, the hitter. And a cue shot back to the mound, and no slow start for Ryan Vogelsong. He retires the Braves 1-2-3 in the bottom of the scoreless first inning in Atlanta. It's the only RBI of the night for the Braves against Tim Lincecum and the Giants. So hopefully Freddie Freeman, with the help of the great Dr. Alan Kozarski, will get those vision problems taken care of and be a thing of the past. Brandon Belt drives one deep right center field, and Belt has hit
a long home run. Boy, does that snap a bad spell for him. And again, he's on fire on the road.
Yeah, it's funny. He went through a stretch where he swung and missed 11 times in one game, and they started to find out, speaking of the name Belt, above the belt and in was a big weak spot and a hole. That pitch was down, not a horrible pitch, but right down the middle, and he just crushed it.
So the Giants have hit a homer now in 10 consecutive games, and like the Braves, San Francisco very reliant on the home run for the bulk of their offensive output. Belt's 8th makes it 1-0 San Francisco. Last year, the Giants hit just 107 home runs. That was one from the bottom in the National League. As Pablo Sandoval skies one toward left. And that's played by Justin Upton for out number 1. Belt's homer is the 37th home run for San Francisco. They're going to fly by last year's total.
Michael Morse will have a big hand in helping out in that regard. Belt's just happy to get that strikeout. Monkey off his back. He was really scuffling.
Brandon Crawford is the Giants shortstop. He is a good one. He robbed Evan Gattis last night. How big a play did that turn out to be for San Francisco? Gattis pinch hitting in the 9th inning. Had a hit taken away up the middle by Crawford, who made a terrific diving stop and a perfect throw. Hit a long way the other way. Justin on the run, and the ball gets there and makes the play up against the wall.
Nice play by Justin. The comforting thing when you're getting into that corner is knowing that at Turner Field the walls are well padded. This ball was slicing away from him too. Nice catch.
It was a nice catch, and it helps that defensively they were shading him that way as well, so the run was shortened.
Brandon Hicks getting extended playing time at second base for the Giants.
You know, Joe, I don't know how you feel about this, but a topic that's growing in conversation is the exaggerated shifts that are being put forth.
Again to left. Upton is there. And we will shift to the bottom of the second inning and carry over that thought when the Braves come up. Brandon Belt's homer, the first run of the night in Game 2.
Everybody on every ball that Justin Upton has hit this year, where he's hit it, what kind of pitch it was. There's all that information available to them to decide where they're going to play their defense. But I'm with you from a hitter's standpoint. The only way you're going to get them to stop shifting on you is to start using the whole field.
No shift for Justin Upton, who takes a ball low, 1 ball, no strikes.
Typically what would happen in the pitchers meetings, you'd go over this in detail, and you would position your outfielders one way, shade them one way or the other based on the tendencies, but you would let your infielders position themselves athletically to accommodate, you know, but you can't accommodate for a bad pitch, so it's up to the pitcher to actually execute. But some of these guys have become so predominantly pull happy that it doesn't matter what pitch it is. They're throwing it into a short right field, and the second baseman's throwing them out at first. So I'm just amazed, I guess, because I'm noticing it more than I ever did before I played, or when I was playing. I guess I didn't pay attention.
Shocker, 2 balls, no strikes, low and away, ball 3.
Well, you know, we never had it. And so now you're sitting up here and you're watching, holy cow, there's 6 guys on the right side of the field. I mean, they're leaving the whole shortstop third baseman situation wide open. Matt Adams finally made him change from the Cardinals. They were putting on a shift, and he went like 5 for 6 through the shortstop hole, and everybody said, "Okay, that's all it takes." No one's even bunting.
Well, the other day in Florida, the Braves had a shift on late in the game for Giancarlo Stanton. Had 3 guys basically on the left side of the infield, and I was very impressed with the game on the line. It was a tie game in the 7th. Took a little off his swing and went to right field. There was nobody over there. Got a base hit, drove in what proved to be the winning run.
There you go.
That's hit the other way by Upton on a 3-1 pitch. No shift, but a perfectly placed batted ball by Upton, and he's got the first Braves hit of the game.
He goes with it. What he did, Joe, the first baseman's way off the line, so no chance. See how he's almost playing second base, so it's a modified adjustment from the first baseman, and he gets that hit.
That's a routine out.
Oh, otherwise. It drives the pitcher crazy. I'm just telling you. It does. It drives him. You're like, oh.
So here's Gaddis. Evan at .282 with 7 homers and 14 knocked in. Stopped by Buster Posey, who started at first base yesterday. He's behind the plate tonight.
Well, that's a good look. Fill her up, will you, Tim? Check the oil while you're at it.
Broken bat, rolled it to the right side. Belt will flip to Crawford, who never had it. Hit him right in the glove, and everybody's safe.
That was a good play by Belt because Hicks was nowhere close to being able to field this ball, so Belt was able to cut it off, go the short way, and Crawford just didn't catch the ball.
I think he kind of handcuffs him with a short little missile here. He's real firm with it, and it almost looks like he gets to him a little bit too soon, or he doesn't look in the glove, one of the two.
And he was late getting there, too.
Fielder's choice, E6 on Crawford, his 4th error of the year. Now the Braves have an opportunity with a runner in scoring position. First chance tonight for Chris Johnson and the Braves offense. Rolled foul, strike 1.
I was thinking about this a lot today, and there was a case right there Braves have a man in scoring position, 2 out, nobody on. 2 on, nobody out. And how, in my mind's eye, the Braves have been very impatient in this situation. And one of the lines you always use, Chip, about you got to remember who's in trouble. Pitcher's the guy that's in trouble here. Make him work a little bit. Get a pitch you like. And if it's the first pitch, then make sure it's in a real small spot you're looking for.
Pop fly foul out of play, and 2 pitches, 2 strikes to the Braves third baseman, Chris Johnson.
That doesn't mean you want to take away their aggressiveness. It just means if it is the first pitch that you see and like, again, it's because you were looking for that pitch in this space, in this spot, and then attack it. Otherwise, make him work.
Upton at second, Gaddis at first, nobody out.
And on the flip side, as a pitcher, I would always want to turn that aggressiveness around to my advantage. Meaning, if I knew a guy wanted to drive a run or hit it in the gap and he was aggressive, I would then change my pitches to offset it. So if he's trying to attack a fastball, I'm throwing a slider away, and that might be the pulled ground ball for a double play, and that adds to the frustration. But I agree with you. If you don't wait for that mistake, if you're not looking for that one area, your chances of success go right down the drain.
Ground ball, Sandoval to his knees, fires to second one. What a turn by Brandon Hicks. With Evan Gaddis barreling in at second base, Hicks hung in there after Sandoval hit him with a seed to start an around the horn double play.
Big play here. Ran that ball in on him, jammed him a little bit, and Sandoval not only saved a run, he gets 2. I want to follow up on what we were just talking about, though, John. In my mind, when the pitcher's in trouble, he's got runners on base. He's trying not to make a mistake. He doesn't want to let these runs in, so he's not going to. His preference is, I don't want to make a mistake in the middle of the plate. I'm going to miss away and be off the plate and hope that I get some help. Likewise, I think that plays into the aggressive hitter, that for him against an aggressive hitter who's so anxious to drive that run in that all of a sudden he's swinging at pitches that are just a little bit off, away, or in.
And I always say that a pitcher should be in trouble when it's first and second, nobody out, unless your offense allows him to not feel that kind of trouble because of strikeouts or double plays. You know, I think when you're not able to adjust and take advantage of those situations, you have the capability of swinging and missing and striking out. Then the pitcher knows there's holes you can go to in a lineup. And that, unfortunately, is what has run over like a broken record right now with the Braves. They have shown the pitcher ways to get out of innings that they shouldn't be getting out of. And when it's going good and they're hitting a 3-run homer and they're crushing mediocre pitches, that's where the pitcher says, uh-oh, I mean, I could give up a 3-run homer right here. And so you're right. And that's why I love the cat and mouse game of baseball. Certain clubs have edges that you're afraid of, and some clubs don't. And you try to exploit them.
A shift is on for Ugla. 2 balls and a strike. And then swept way outside. Now 3-1. 3 Giants defenders between the second base bag and the third base bag.
Here's what we were talking about, and he's got a perfect pitch to go the other way if he wants to, because it could be that 3-1, Vogelsong doesn't have to throw him a strike. He might be pitching him around him a little bit here, and if so, it might be something away that he can serve to right field.
That missed high and tight, and Ugla's aboard with a 2-out walk.
It was the old theory that I watched for year after year after year with Tom Glavine. If a hitter would take certain things away from Tom Glavine, he was a normal pitcher. But they didn't. They wanted to pull the ball, and he feasted off the fact that I know you want to pull the ball. I know you think that that pitch is something you're going to drive out of the park, and what ends up happening is you roll over. If you'd have just gone with the pitch at times, and I just watched that ego of the hitter over and over again. The great hitters don't have it. The ones that can spray it, the Miguel Cabreras, the Pujols in his day, they're like I could beat you everywhere.
Look how long Jamie Moyer pitched.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's a great example.
He pitched forever doing the same thing. Really, guys go up there thinking they're going to hit it 9 miles off of him because he's not throwing hard. And they didn't.
Outside for Simmons, a man who you expect to put the ball in play unless, of course, Vogelsong walks him. Simmons has struck out only 4 times in 102 plate appearances this year. And he's batting .278. Upton at third, Ugla at first, 2 out.
I know you wouldn't mind walking him here. There's a base open, as Tom Glavine likes to say. There's a base open. It's just not first base.
Correct.
The pitcher up next.
Correct. And he's a decent hitting pitcher, too.
Yeah,
so it's not like, but you're still going to take your chances with a pitcher. I think that's one of the most, it's funny, first and third doesn't seem like a base is open, but in actuality there is. And don't give in to the count right here at 3-0.
And ball 4, back-to-back walks. Teheran will be cleared here in the second. He'll hit with the bases loaded.
Now here's a huge dilemma. For a pitcher, I know you're probably going to be given the take sign. He's just walked 2 guys. But on the flip side, you feel like he's going to try to get ahead of you and lay one in there. It's your best chance to do damage. And so, unfortunately, if you let him loose and he pops up, what does everybody say?
Yeah.
Well, how'd you let him swing?
I don't feel that way with Julio because he's a good fastball hitter and he's really good at slashing the fastball to right field. And if he gets that one here first pitch, I'd let him hack.
With that in mind, Joe, Hicks and Belt back up a step or 2 on the right side of the Giants infield. And it's a breaking ball and a good one. Strike 1.
Well, that's just a better pitch selection than what I would thought would have happened. Yeah. So great job by the catcher and the pitcher there to mix it up after throwing 2 straight walks.
Oh, and 2.
I'm going to be honest. There's times, and I know Tommy had to do it. Greg had to do it from time to time. You know you're going to get the take. You just try not to look. Sorry, Skip. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
You know, because you're just begging to let that first one because you know what's going to happen. He's going to lay it in there in some circumstances. Because I know as much as I like to, especially with you guys, talk trash about if I got lucky enough ran into a home run. I knew I was limited. I knew there was things I can't do at the plate. But my job was to fake it as long as I could, make the pitcher think that, you know, my stance might have been looking like I could hit or look the part.
Hunter Pence. I'm sure the scouting report is out on Julio being a good hitter and hits the ball to right field. Hunter Pence almost looks like he's in the starter's blocks in right field, just anticipating the ball being hit to him.
Julio putting up a fight here in the Braves second. And now the 1-2 pitch. Back to the mound. And Vogelsong is out of the soup. And he protects a 1-0 lead. And he'll start things off for the Giants in the third. Here's Vogelsong. Talk about a man that has had a major league career filled with persistence. This is the guy. The Giants drafted Vogelsong in 1998. He was traded to the Pirates in 2001. A couple of years later had Tommy John surgery. After he recovered from that, was a swing man with the Pirates, starting pitching out of the bullpen. Never really gained any traction with the Pirates. The following season he pitched in Japan. He was very close to giving up baseball after his experience in the Japanese leagues. He and his wife were about to celebrate the arrival of their first child in 2009. He signed a minor league deal with the Phillies, and Vogelsong is from Pennsylvania. As he checks his swing and rolls slowly towards second. Over the peg to first in time. So Vogelsong's thinking, wow, finally get a chance to play at home, new baby, everything's going to work out great. Almost immediately was let go by the Phillies. And he sat around, waited and waited and waited. for someone to pick up the phone and ask him to come pitch for them. The Angels did. That didn't work out. He had to go to winter ball in Venezuela, pitch down there with his family, then signed a minor league deal with the Giants and picked up his first win as a Giant in 2011. 13 years after they originally drafted him. He never gave up, kept following the dream. His wife encouraged him to stick with it one more year. They would watch the MLB games on the satellite and see guys that had played in Japan that were playing in the North American big leagues. And she said, you can do it. And here he is.
Well, he had 2 outstanding years in 11 and 12. 13 and 7, 14 and 9. Last year, kind of an injury-plagued season. Never really regained the form. Forget hitting the hand.
I believe it was Craig Stammen of Washington. Hit his hand, broke his little finger, really kind of shattered it.
It's not a bunt attempt, right? I think it was when he was trying to bunt.
I don't know the answer.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice play by Teheran to handle a swinging bunt from Pagan. And he's retired. That's out number 2.
We talk a lot about Julio Teheran's quick feet on his move to first, and excellent pickoff move, but he's got some quick feet and very athletic when it comes to fielding his position too.
I love seeing it because the pitchers take a little too much rap, you know, not being able to catch a pop-up, unathletic. Some of them, you know.
No, they don't.
We've never heard Tom Glavine ever say that pitchers are unathletic.
You guys can throw it and hit a gnat from 60 feet 6 inches, but you can't throw it to second base on a pickoff. So when you start being able to explain that to me, then we'll
well,
talk.
I mean, there's a large. The fraternity is large, you know. It doesn't mean they're all going to fall into the category of which Tom and I speak of. Attaboy. Show him.
He did. 3 up, 3 down for Teheran, who trails 1-0 in the third.
A little different material.
All wool unis in the old days. Yikes. As Jason Hayward takes a ball inside, he's our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot. He's on a nice roll at the plate.
Yeah, his average up over 220.
Yeah, the old wool flannels, they used to say, heat of the summer, the guys would wear those jersey tops and bottoms. They'd be 2 sizes too big by the time the game ended.
And heavy.
Oh, man. Way inside, ball 3. A couple of walks for Vogelsong so far tonight. One here would be welcome with B.J. Upton waiting on deck. You saw the ball strike splits. More balls than strikes is usually not a recipe for success.
No, and he's kind of been pitching backwards. I don't know if it's on purpose. I wouldn't think so, but he's been getting, you know, by.
With this asterisk, and that is that he walked 2 guys, not trying to throw him a strike last inning. They threw 8 balls. That kind of skewed that total.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to walk Hayward.
No.
Who can run. Now Upton's the batter. He popped out his first time up. BJ's hitting 6 straight.
And that's the key right there. With if you get more than 1.5 guys hot in a lineup, obviously it changes the way a pitcher faces guys. You know, there's times in the past where you could walk 2 guys literally.
Runner goes on first move. Posey's throw is not in time. Bang, bang play, and Hayward got in safely. His 5th stolen base.
Tell you what, when he first took off, I didn't think there was any chance, Joe. And Posey put it right.
Yes, he did.
Money.
BJ tried to help him a little bit there. Didn't even get a pitch that he could fake the bunt on, really. And Jason just got his hand in there.
Now, this little meeting right here is all bent towards creating time to see if the replays are going to show anything before Bruce Bochy comes out. And I think it's going to be where he's not going to make it an issue and the umpires catch on real quick. That's one thing I don't know in the future if that's going to be tweaked. Meaning you're seeing a lot of managers coming out almost not tongue-in-cheek, putting their arm around the umpire, turning around, saying, hey, look, we're going to have a conversation here until I get my thumbs up or thumbs down. I know we're working on this system. It's a system in progress, but I'd like to see that kind of changed a little bit, because that will get old after a while.
Oh, it's already gotten old for a lot of the managers. Freddie Gonzalez hates that part of the replay process.
I think, I'm sorry, Chip, I think part of that too is Bruce just doesn't feel good about himself in that uniform, and he didn't want to go out there unless he absolutely had to.
Could be. I was going to say earlier, when they have these kind of uniforms, the coaches usually suffer the most.
1 ball, 1 strike. That's launched into left, and Morse can't get it. It's beyond him and off the fence. Hayward will score. B.J. Upton with an RBI double, and we're tied at 1 apiece.
We started talking about this in spring training, Chip, about how some success breeds confidence. And when B.J. started swinging the bat better in spring training, it carried over to the beginning of the season. And while the numbers weren't great to start the season, they are really improving because he's swinging so much better right now. He's hit in 17 of his last 20.
And so Hayward, who walked and stole second, has scored his 3rd run in his last 6 games. And the Braves a golden opportunity to grab the lead with Freddie Freeman in the batter's box. And he takes ball 1 low.
And this is where you wouldn't mind if a guy dead pulled the ball here and got it out. So this is one I expect Freddie. I know they're going to pitch him away, but he will do whatever it takes. If the ball is on the ground, I believe it will be to the right side. He could hit it over the shortstop's head in the line drive, but I think he's going to make an effort to pull this ball.
That looked like a good pitch to try to do it, but he took it for an even count.
And you know, when you're pitching and you know that guy's up there that's going to do it 90% of the time, you just have to give into it and make the out and not try to do too much, because then you create a huge inning.
Look at Freeman. Base hit to right. Upton around third will be stopped as Pence comes up throwing. He missed the cutoff man, but Posey out in front of the plate scoops it off the ground. And Freeman's rewarded with a single, and the Braves have him at the corners now with nobody out.
Some good baseball here on both sides. First, Freddie, you could really see him accentuate that top hand, trying to turn on this ball to get it to the right side. And as it turned out, he did, but for a base hit. B.J. didn't just take off on the crack of the bat. He had to wait and make sure the ball went through. Look at that top hand roll over there to hook that ball. So B.J. only made it to third, but that was better than the possibility of running into a double play.
And how about in this inning? The Braves 2 for 2 with runners in scoring position.
There you go.
After going 0 for 2 an inning ago. Dave Urgetty's the pitching coach. He's out talking with Vogelsong, who's thrown nearly as many balls as strikes.
And I want to add one thing, that the average can be overrated, meaning you could have a low average but get production and get runs in. So right here, he could make a fly out, or he could make a fielder's choice, and the average is going to go down, runner's scoring position, but the runner's going to score.
That's what I was talking about earlier. It doesn't look so bad from a runners in scoring position average if you're doing the little things right, even sacrifice fly, ground outs here, whatever, if you're getting some runs in.
Justin Upton is the hitter. The right guy in the right park. That's our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard. Look at what Upton has done at home this year.
Hey, and that's no disgrace when 2 guys that are playing in Coors Field are hitting a little higher average at home than you are. Oh, man.
Upton might be shaking his head. There were a couple of pitches in the 9th inning last night that he disagreed with from Joe West.
PNC Fox Tracks says it just perhaps nipped that corner. It didn't look that good in live action hit that same spot with a breaking ball to start this at bat.
Top of the hour in Atlanta. The Braves have tied the Giants here in the third inning. 1 in, 2 on, nobody out. B.J. Upton doubled home Jason Hayward. Freddie Freeman singled to right. And Upton went fishing and came up empty. A sweeping breaking ball gets Justin for out number 1.
One pitch can change the at bat, and what I mean by that, the pitch that was close enough on the outside, he thought it was a ball. They did a nice job going back with a slider outside, and Justin couldn't lay off of it, thinking maybe it might be in that same spot.
Gaddis reached on a fielder's choice in the second. And that just missed.
That looked like a better pitch.
Yeah. Clint Fagan is the home plate umpire, by the way, tonight. That was off the plate. 2 balls, no strikes.
Almost looks like that pitch inside is a two-seamer. He's kind of cutting to make run down and into right-handers a little bit. That was a good pitch.
Yeah. 2-0 pitch. You don't expect that as a hitter to be right in that area. So.
That caught a corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Go to our PNC pitch tracks again. Nope. And if I'm Buster Posey and Ryan Vogelsong, I'm going out there again.
And Gaddis can't say much. He wants that pitch for Julio Teheran tonight. They did go outside, but it missed. Full count.
Great discipline there. I would have been really frustrated as a pitcher, going, oh man, I threw a good one there, and he just spit on it. So I think you could repeat here on a 3-2 pitch and throw the same pitch, make it look a little bit more like a strike, and see if it speeds up the aggressiveness of Gaddis.
That almost picked off Sandoval.
Well, remember, you can't fake to third and throw to first anymore. So I don't know if Vogelsong got in the middle of that and thought, oh, I've got to throw this.
Short lead at first by Freeman. BJ leads from third. Now the payoff pitch. Freeman's running. Swing and a miss. Posey's throw is going to be in time. Strike him out. Throw him out. Double play. Ends the Atlanta third. B.J. Upton with an RBI double chases home Jason Hayward in the third. We now go to the fourth. 1-1 your score.
Posey just the 6th most. That's
a little
surprising.
Concerning.
It's just a few of the National League guys as Posey takes a strike.
Now, is that only at the catcher position, or does that count if he's like playing first base too, but primarily a catcher? I'm not trying to get picky, but
no, I would guess just as a catcher.
Only as a catcher.
So let's go over to the American League. McCann, Matt Wieters, A.J. Przinsky.
Since 2000. Wieters and Brzezinski are candidates.
High fly ball off the bat of Posey, deep left, Upton back into the warning track, won't have a chance. Buster Posey has hit his 7th home run, and the Giants have hit 4 solo homers in the series, and Posey puts him back in front here in the 4th.
That's tough. That's a slider that just stayed over the middle, and you can tell the pitcher is leaning, trying to hopefully get that stay in. And first and third opportunity to take the lead in the previous inning and didn't score, and then they come back to the home run.
So 2-1 Giants. Here's Mike Morse. He lined out to second and ended the first inning.
This happened last night. Braves tied the game up in the bottom of the 5th inning, and then with 1 out in the 6th, Morse hit the home run to right field that proved to be the difference maker. Braves had just tied it.
Slow roller. Teheran pounces. Morse doesn't run well, and Julio takes advantage of that. 1 down. Giants have gotten a lot of mileage these last few years out of left fielders who aren't particularly mobile. Pat Burrell, Barry Bonds at the end. Now Morse. They don't care what he catches. They care about what he hits over the fence. And 1 out for Belt. Belt was a terrific player at Texas. He was a pitcher, in fact, then hurt his shoulder, gave up pitching, and always was able to hit. He was very heavily scouted.
I mean, if you think about it, he was kind of doomed by his last name. You can't be a pitcher if your last name's Belt. So
yeah, it's a bad pitcher's name, right?
The only contrary to that is Ball 4 for Tampa. You really shouldn't be a pitcher with the last name Ball 4.
Or Walk, right? Bob Walk.
So
sure,
there are some oxymorons, but I like that word, whether it fit or not. I'm just throwing it in there. An oxymoron.
I'm proud of you.
Mentioned how Belt was scouted. Boston took him in the 11th round in 2006. He didn't sign. The Braves took him in the 11th round in 2007. Didn't sign. The Giants took him in the 5th round in 2009. Broken bat roller to second. Ugla gets Belt for out number 2.
I'm stumped on the question. I said I was going to retire after yesterday.
Yeah.
But I'm going to just go out on a limb and go with.
Well, we don't have to make a guess yet. There's no hurry.
Yeah, but I don't want to be accused of looking up information. So I'm going to go with Wieters. I don't know why. I'm just. That's where I'm going.
He's a Georgia Tech guy, so.
I think this might still be a former Braves theme. You know, we had Hudson yesterday.
Yeah.
Looks like it could be McCann today. But I'm going to go against the grain.
Here's Pablo Sandoval. And he takes high. 1 ball, no strikes. Giants have to be thrilled with the fact they're in first place, despite the fact that Sandoval's off to an awful start at the plate. He's hitting 178. And some have wondered if Sandoval is perhaps thinking about a big contract. He turned down a big deal by the Giants. His representative was looking for a deal closer to what Hunter Pence got. The Giants apparently, their first offer, weren't ready to make such a commitment. 2 balls and a strike now as that's fouled to the left.
And I think sometimes it can be accurate. You might, because you turned something down, press to prove why you turned it down, that you're worth more, and you could actually, there's been several cases where guys have turned down. We've seen it, you know, with qualifying offers, and they didn't quite get their offer they were looking for.
That's line foul and out of play. If he hits the market, as he hit our microphone on the wall over there.
Thought it hit our booth.
What's a .298 career hitter worth? Who can play third base, can switch hit.
You'd have to have a weight clause in there of some kind. Because he can he's in great shape right now, but he can and has been known to balloon up.
But he still hits. I mean, if you want to make the comparison with Sandoval, pitching comparison might be Bartolo Colon. Bartolo's what, 265, 280 pounds, something like that.
285.
Sandoval's not that big.
Now you had to bring that up into our pitching fraternity, didn't you? You had to throw Bartolo Colon in there.
I did.
But you're right. I mean, a pitcher is expected to do a little bit less than a third baseman, so body types might be a little more important at third. But it's the age-old thing, you know, when you're hitting, you're not overweight. When you're not,
you are.
You're way overweight.
Yep. Didn't bother Babe Ruth, did it? Pablo Sandoval, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Pretty good battle going on here.
Well, and that's the thing. When a guy's struggling, you really don't, you know, think about how many times he hasn't thrown him a strike already here in 3-2. And he's expanded the zone. It gives you a little bit more luxury to do certain things that other hitters would have already walked. But he wants to swing.
He did. Lost the bat. And Julio Teheran strikes out Pablo Sandoval, but not before Buster Posey homer to break the tie. Home half of the 4th inning, 2-1 San Fran. Leads off for Atlanta. He hit into a double play in the second. Coming into play tonight, since 1995, the Giants are 24-52-1 against the Braves in this ballpark. The one tie was a game that was rained out after 5 innings of play and not made up. So Turner Field has not been a friendly place for San Francisco to visit. 1 ball, 1 strike for Chris. And they have to be thrilled with the weather this time here in Atlanta, right?
I think any team from the west side that comes to Atlanta wants to come in April or May. They know what's coming.
Yep. Used to love it in the summer and watch everybody else just wilt.
Can you say Steven Strasburg?
Well, maybe, but you could see it. You know, late in the year, you'd see teams come in, and especially the West Coast teams, and man. And it became an advantage for us. It really was a luxury to be able to feel like this is it's not going to bother you. You know, you'll lose some weight on a given day or night, but
Two balls, 2 strikes. Vogelsong's been given a lead. Last thing he wants to do is start walking people again. 58 pitches, only 31 strikes. A couple of double plays have bailed him out in tonight's game. No first inning trouble, but base runners all over the place since.
man, I'm impressed with our mic system that you have here.
We have one everywhere there's a foul ball hit.
That's unbelievable.
You know, you have all those stats for how to defend somebody.
Yeah. You know where the foul ball's going?
Oh, yeah. Chris, for example, is typically a straight back guy.
That one's down the right field line and into the seats.
It's like we'll have to add that one to the chart.
Yeah. Well, we know that that's where the fans from Villa Rica usually sit, so that's who caught that foul ball.
You read my mind.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Comebacker. And Vogelsong takes care of Chris Johnson on a soft line drive. 1 up, 1 down. Ugla and Simmons next. Vogelsong pitched around them, it would appear, in the 2nd inning. It paid off when Julio Teheran bounced out to end the frame. Braves are 2 for 6 so far tonight with runners in scoring position. Their run came an inning ago on a B.J. Upton double.
Give a little shout out to a gentleman by the name of Frank from Dalton. He helped me today with a 2-hour signing, autograph signing in Omaha. Couldn't have done it without him.
Omaha?
Yeah, Omaha.
You had a long day today.
Is that right out there by Dallas, Georgia?
It's out yonder in the middle of the country. There, right there, and College World Series coming up
by the Denver airport.
Yeah, that's right.
1 ball, 1 strike. The shift on for Ugla, and he missed a fastball. It's 1-2. So John battling through with a severe case of writer's cramp tonight.
My scorecard looks okay, though. Give it time.
Bounced foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Joe, you would be impressed. I'm on an incredible streak, and I know I shouldn't say it because I'll jinx myself, but you know how bad it used to be. Mistake, give up, quit.
Right.
Not anymore.
No.
Nope.
Still writing with pen.
Still writing with pen. Wow. Broken pencils are pointless. So yeah, stay with
Center. 2 outs. I love it when he slides him in under radar. Pagan makes the play 2-away. Here's Simmons.
They're not really under radar. They're just like, at this point, it's just
get it out of his system.
Yeah, just go ahead and call the play. You know, here's Simmons.
Yeah. You know, I think Bob Costas had the right idea the more I think about it the other day. Just go. Base is empty for Edmonton, and he drives the first pitch to right and right at Hunter Pence. Vogelsong is settling in. He's through 4 with a 1-run lead, and he's due up 3rd in the top of the 5th. In Miami tonight, Dodgers are leading 6-2 in the 4th. Crawford a big swing and a miss. 0-1. Justin Upton got him on a nice catch in left.
Fair or not, when you pay that guy that kind of money, you're going to be really cautious to make sure that April and May are not that important.
Hamilton at short, loads up. Gets his man 1 down.
I'm with you. And coming off of last year and the grind of the finish of the season and how many games he pitched, you know, and the fact that he came on 3 days rest a couple times. I think that the Dodgers well know the future is Clayton Kershaw, and they certainly feel and believe that their team's going to be there at the end. So why not just give them a little more?
Are you surprised the Dodgers are 6-9 at home but 11-4 on the road?
I'm surprised by a lot of things the Dodgers do, but I'm not surprised that if they go and rip off 21 out of 30,
yeah,
they've got that kind of team, you know. And I think Clayton Kershaw changes. I know it's hard for people to say, how does one pitcher change it's an 80% almost victory rate when he's on top of his game, and it just makes your ball club feel better when you've got your stud on the mound.
And everybody else in rotation slots down a slot or two. In the case of Los Angeles, all the options they have for their starting rotation.
Yeah, and Zach Greinke only went 5-0 in April.
The Dodgers a game and a half behind the Giants. They're in third place out west. The Colorado Rockies are a game out.
Well, I love the Walt Weiss story and just what he's been able to do. If they ever really did a documentary on how he got the manager's job, people would be sitting up, really? He was coaching his what?
Yeah.
But he's great ex-teammate, loves the game, respects the game.
Brandon Hicks struck out on a breaking ball. Teheran has 3 strikeouts tonight, and 2 are out in the 5th inning.
Like Julio finally got a call out there on that part of the plate that Vogelsong was getting earlier.
This is not an easy road trip for the Giants. They start in Atlanta, they go to Pittsburgh, and wrap up with 4 against the Dodgers in Los Angeles. And right when they get back, they've got the Braves again. So this first 2 weeks of May, the Giants are playing teams that made the playoffs. Pretty important stretch for Bruce Bochy's ball club.
Yeah, I was told they don't usually play very well in Pittsburgh either. It's kind of a tough spot for them.
Maybe they'll have better luck this year. The Pirates, maybe one of the more disappointing clubs to start the year. They're 11-18 and already 9.5 games out of first place. The Milwaukee Brewers have surged to a big lead in the National League Central. It's at 6.5 games after the Cardinals lost again to the Cubs. The Cubs won their first series today since last September and have a chance to sweep the Cardinals tomorrow night at Wrigley. And a swing and a miss takes care of Vogelsong. Teheran has retired 6 straight after the Buster Posey homer. He'll go to bat in the Braves' 5th, down a run.
Kind of void in there. Doing better than most people would have thought.
Well, when we went to Milwaukee to start the season, John, and you mentioned this last night, Chip and I both commented then that this is going to be a tough ball club in the Central Division. It might surprise some people because Ramirez was healthy and their starting pitching looks so good. And of course, they had Braun back. He's on the DL now.
And an oblique problem. Hey, nice catch.
Yeah, you got 2 catches down there. Some of that's out of protection. Well done, sir. Didn't drop either one.
0-2 for Julio, and a little looper toward first. Belt will flip to the pitcher, covering a high throw, but Vogelsong handled. And there's out number 1. On plays like that, I love watching the reactions of the players. Buster Posey did a double take behind the dish when he saw that dad with the baby in his arms and the grab with the left hand. Buster Posey almost stood back and gave him a round of applause.
We help over here.
That's great. Here's Hayward. Jason walked, stole a base, and has scored the lone Braves run. And a bullet hit toward right center field. Pence will try to cut it off. He did. Hayward streaking toward second. The throw is going to be late. Jason was thinking double with the crack of the bat.
On one like that, that's where you make a double, is home to first. Busted out of the box. You can always throw out an anchor and stop if you have to. But he knew from the get-go he had a chance for 2. Hit the bag in stride, and he's in scoring position. He's swinging the bat really well right now. Good night again last night, 3 for 5.
6-game hitting streak for Hayward now. Here's Upton. These two combined to drive in the first Braves run. Upton doubled to left. Braves tonight are 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Let's see if Upton can improve that and tie this game.
We were talking a minute ago, John, you mentioned something about, you know, if you've got one, maybe two guys hot, that's really not enough to carry your offense. And you don't have to have everybody hot. I've never seen a team that had everybody hot at the same time. And they don't have to certainly be the same guys all the time. But if you've got 3 that are swinging the bat pretty well, and preferably 4, they can carry it.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Those guys can carry it.
That man did for the first 3.5 weeks of the season. Freddie Freeman was on deck. Hayward and Upton now with week-long hitting streaks for the Braves offense. And BJ took a close pitch low. 3 balls and a strike.
So that's another good sign, and that might have something to do with his new specs, being able to lay off some pitches that are borderline.
Good cut. Full count, though. Let's take a look at our SunTrust shining moment tonight.
Braves able to manufacture a run with a walk, and Jason Hayward stolen base, and then a double by BJ.
There's another opportunity. If you're thinking along the pitcher, you can get a swing out of the zone on a 3-2 pitch.
Not close enough to offer.
The problem with that is it's got to look somewhat close enough. You have to take advantage of hitters. Now, I know he's seeing the ball better and he's swinging better, but you have to take advantage of the hitters that want to get out of a hitting slump. You know, they want to continue to swing the bat.
Right.
And a 3-2 pitch can be an aggressive pitch for a pitcher if the hitter is in that situation. Otherwise, it's not close enough.
Well, he's walked 4. 2 of those we talked about were on 8 straight pitches, kind of pitching around them in the the second inning. But be patient here. Again, he's the guy that's in some trouble, and he's got a 1-run lead, but make him throw you a good pitch to hit.
The 4 walks for Vogelsong, a season high. He walked 3 men in Colorado on April 21st. He's walked 6 in a game. That was back in 2004.
You can only outrun lightning so long. You know, if you put yourself in these situations long enough and you see those statistics, 3rd time through, 353 average, the law of averages are going to catch up for you. It's harder to keep getting out of jams and putting yourself in jams via the walk.
Broken bat, fly ball to right. Pence got a great jump. And the throw back to second is close, but Hayward back in safely. Freeman flies to right. 2 outs.
Ran it in on him. Might have broken his bat. I thought he was a little bit late on the pitch that he swung and missed on that was out away from him. And maybe when Buster Posey saw that, he decided to try to jam him inside, which a lot of teams have been trying to do. It worked.
Justin struck out swinging last time up. A couple of disputed pitches in that sequence, and then the strikeout pitch was not a strike.
If I was sitting on the bench, we always would say, okay, time for 9 and 21. And they would look at me, what are you talking about? You look at the big board. He's got 8 home runs and 18 RBIs. It's time for the 9th home run and 21 RBIs. This is where a 3-run homer is the greatest feeling in the world, especially with 2 outs.
Yeah. No. Couldn't lay off. Sometimes your mind plays on you, even if you're looking for that pitch. You're saying, okay, I'm waiting for the slider, and he throws it, and then you're getting what you're looking for, but you hadn't thought about location, and it's like, oh, it's a bad pitch.
And going back to what we talked about earlier tonight, 2 outs with runners in scoring position is a really tough statistic for an offense. But for the Braves, it has really, really been tough. The team 8 for 90 coming into play tonight. And Posey got just enough of that ball to keep it at his feet. That was a miraculous stop. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
This is a hard one to read too as a base runner at second base, because you can't tell depth perception wise how far that ball rolled away from Buster, and Jason didn't want to run into an out at third base to end the inning. Smart heads up read.
Great speed aboard for the Braves. The 2-2 is low. A flinch by Clint Fagan, the home plate umpire, but Upton got the call.
Yeah, Vogelsong dipped his head too, but low on our PNC Fox tracks.
Guarantee you'll go in there and look at it, and he'll feel, okay, sorry. Always see it differently when you're on the mound. There's no doubt.
Runners go, and fouled back by Upton.
I thought, I mean, this is kind of reminiscent of the 9th inning last night, and I thought the pitch Sergio Romo made to strike him out was brilliant. Had never anticipated, never expected him to go in, and he made a great pitch with his fastball in for called third.
Would Vogelsong dare the same strategy here? They kept it away, and Upton swung and missed at the pitch that got him in the 3rd inning. The Braves threatened in the 5th, but failed to score. Hayward and Upton left stranded. 2-1 Giants.
Twittered you?
I'm still a little bit behind in the times. I understand.
There's nothing wrong with that, John.
Andrew Pagan leads things off for the Giants in the 6th. He's 0 for 2 in the game.
I know I got some fake ones out there. People pretending to be me.
That was a problem for Chipper a couple of years ago too.
The 0-1 pitch is ripped towards second, and Ugla gets Pagan. He's 0 for 3. Good start for Teheran in the 6th inning.
Well, we talked earlier in the open about the patience of the young pitchers when they're not getting many runs, and certainly already this year you could argue that is the glass half full, is it half empty? The Braves should have a few more wins. They've lost a couple 1-0 games, but the pitching staff has really stayed to the course, and they're pitching what they can handle and not be too concerned with a 2-1 game trying to be perfect. you're going to give up some runs. You know, you're going to give up some solo home runs. It's rare that 2 solo home runs are going to beat you back-to-back nights. It's rare. It's not impossible, but it's rare, and you stay with that.
That, I'm sure, doesn't lessen the frustration, not just individually, but collectively.
Yeah, there's no doubt, because what happens is you pitch extremely well for April and even early May, and then you have a couple bad starts, and your record should have been 3-0 or 3-1, and it's now 1-3 or 2-4, and people are looking at it going, why are you 2-4? But that's the part of the game that at the end of the season, numbers should work out. They don't always, but they should.
Well, that's why one of his keys tonight was consistency. He's been so consistent with his command. You look at his numbers, it's just virtually the same night. Every night is the same. They're the same numbers.
Yeah.
In Teheran's previous 3 starts before tonight, 1 earned run in 24 innings with 17 strikeouts. Fly ball to left. Long run Upton nearing the line, still coming, slide try, can't get it. He touched the ball in foul ground. It is a foul ball, and Pence will go back to the plate with a 2-2 count.
This was a long run to get to it. And I think at the end he thought that he may have to slide to catch it, when in essence he may have been able to stand up and keep going at that point.
It's also one of those plays, we'll have to ask him after the game, but outfielders on occasion will put the glove up to catch a ball and put it between their eyes and the baseball and lose the ball, and that looked like a perfect example of that. They certainly don't want to do it, but just tracking the baseball, sometimes that happens.
Pence is down on strikes. That was tipped and caught by Gaddis.
That's 92.
Can't pitch any better than Julio Teheran has pitched.
Yeah, that's tough. 1 earned run and not get a decision on either of those games. But, you know, in a perfect world, if you knew you were only going to get 3 runs a game for the rest of your life, I think most pitchers would take that. And if you're in a perfect world, you'd want it to be a tight game up until this point, 6th, 7th inning, and then let your team get those runs late, because you really stay in the game. I mean, you're in the game, not to say that if it was a 4-0 lead, you're not going to pitch the same way, but you know, in a tight game, you don't have room for error, and you pitch that way. It's a lot harder when people say, pretend it's 1-0 when it's 7-0.
Well, and think about who he matched up in those 3 games.
Yeah.
Cliff Lee, Johnny Cueto, and Tom Kohler, who pitched real well against Teheran. So he has matched other teams' #1 guys pitch for pitch and strike for strike. Buster Posey takes a ball high, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mile high pop up. Who wants it? It'll be Simmons, and he's got it. Teheran has retired 9 straight Giants. Now he needs some offense. Evan Gaddis leads our Delta Airlines on bid and struck out into an inning-ending double play. That ended the Braves' 3rd.
Well, it hasn't been pretty for Vogelsong, but he's picked up where his last start was as far as shutting down the offense.
Far and away his best start. 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, and 104 pitches. He hasn't been nearly as efficient tonight. He scattered 4 hits and has allowed just one Atlanta run tonight.
Well, after that start in Colorado, he was just looking for any sign at all that he could get back on track. And I would say that most recent start he had against Cleveland helped him do that tonight. You know, he's pitching through some spots, tough spots, doesn't have his best stuff, but he's managing.
And with that in mind, looked like Dave Righetti was going to get the Giants bullpen busy. Their bullpen has been terrific.
We would call this lulling the hitters to sleep, pitching behind and then making really good pitches when he had to get them out.
Like that. Right under the hands, and Gaddis missed it. Full count.
He's done that a couple of times tonight to both left-handers and right-handers, and he's done it with a 90 fastball. It's not like he's airing everybody out, but when you go upstairs like that above the hands and in off the plate just a little bit, been very successful.
And he backed it up, and Gaddis missed it. Fourth strikeout, and one away in the Atlanta sixth.
See, I don't think he intended to throw those pitches there. I just think that's where they're going at 3-1. You know, he's trying to have a firm fastball and let it go, and it's out of the zone. Ball 4 twice, but trying to make something happen sometimes as a hitter, trying to get in that hitter's count. You get a little too aggressive. It's working tonight. I wouldn't call it that's a tape you want to watch and go, this is how I can get guys the rest of the year.
Chris Johnson's hit to a double play, and he's hit a soft liner back to the mound. The double play in the second was very impressive. Sandoval from his knees snagged it, fired to second, and Hicks made the turn with Evan Gaddis charging in on him at second base. And that caught a corner. It's 0-2.
Now, most of the cases tonight, he'd go 0-2 and get to 3-2 pretty quick, or 2-2. He didn't put a hitter away right away. He had to exhaust a few more pitches to get him out. But not this one.
He got Johnson looking, and that's 3 strikeouts in a row for Vogelsong. 2 outs.
Best pitch of the night, I thought. 0-2 pitch, and he just painted the outside corner. Those are the borderline ones.
I mean, Posey's glove never moved.
That's exactly right.
That's what I was just going to say. That just keep an eye on Posey's glove. Like you said, Chip, watch this. Watch the glove. Going to get that call, strike or not.
Popped up. Crawford and Sandoval give chase. That's near the seats and into them. And a ball and a strike for Dan Uggla. Dan's in a slide. 1 hit in his last 19 at bats. He's walked and flied out tonight.
It appears that he's back in that pull or nothing mode.
Pitch number 100 missed. 2 balls and a strike.
Look how far the first baseman has to go to get to the bag on a ground ball. I mean, this is sprinting to first base. That's about as far off the bag as you're going to see.
Yep.
And a pretty good indication of what Joe was talking about, how pull happy Dan Uggla appears to be. I don't think he can hit the ball to the right side here.
I'm going to guess that Brandon Belt's leaning on it. He's got most of his weight on his left foot.
So here's Vogelsong again. He gets 3-1 and then starts executing tough pitches. How about that one behind in the count?
Yeah. Well, when you're the pitcher here, you've got a lot of work to do to get to first base, because Albert Pujols was the guy that covered the most ground I thought I'd ever seen at first base. But right here, any ball that's hit close, you got to sprint as well. because really now the first baseman, any ball hit close to the second baseman spot, he's got to go get it. So that leaves a pretty big gap of territory. But like you said, Joe, I mean, chances of him hitting the ball over there primarily are not in the higher percentages.
If he does hit a ground ball between Belt and the bag, Dan might get a double just on a grounder.
Line past Crawford into left field. A 2-out hit for Dan Uggla, and that'll bring up Andrelton Simmons.
Maybe that'll get Dan going. He got the fastball, but this time it was down. Vogelsong had gotten a couple of strikeouts on some high pitches this inning, high fastballs to Gaddis in particular, but that one was down where Dan could just drop the barrel on it.
A strike to Simmons. Julio Teheran is due next, but Ryan Domit has grabbed the bat. He stands on deck. David Hale has begun to warm up in the Braves bullpen.
This is kind of like last night's game too. Mike Minor could have continued, but when the Braves got some action going in the 6th inning, he had to try and take advantage of it and had to pinch hit for him.
But like you said, Joe, it's really a tough decision for the manager because so many of the Braves scoring opportunities the last 4 or 5 games have come with 2 outs.
Yeah.
And that's the situation here in the bottom of the order.
I think it's a deke. I think he's going to bat no matter what. 72 pitches, but it's what you got to do. You got to make the other manager feel like you will pinch hit.
And caught a corner. It's 0-2.
But I can see why it's so tempting to want to do it, because you think, oh, they got 3 innings to score. Well, they've had 27 innings to try to score in some circumstances and don't get it done. So I can see where the pressure would be to try and manufacture that run via the pinch hitter.
Simmons chased one bill of the cap high, and Vogelsong struck out the side in the 6th. On we go to the 7th. Giants 2, Atlanta 1. Morse is lined out and tapped back to the pitcher. And he unloads high in the air, left center field and deep. This one is a no-doubter. A towering home run for Michael Morse.
Is that a breaking ball?
Yeah.
Because it looked like he got fooled a little bit and was really on his back leg a lot. And at first I thought he hit it straight up. Not so.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at the monitor. I was looking out on the field. It looked like that was the one that rolled. We'll see if it did. Yeah, it just rolled right there and didn't move. And that's the recipe for backspin and lift and a ball going a long way.
That is one strong man.
Yes, it is. He can hit him a mile. Talking about the home runs that they have hit, Chip, and yet another solo shot. A few days ago, I think it was going into the Marlins series, the Braves had given up fewer home runs than anybody. There's the team home run standings. Braves had given up, I think, 13 at that time, but they've now given up 10 home runs in their last 4 games and 7 innings.
And again, not to pile on, they haven't been significant to cost them. They should not be costing them victories. You know, it's only 2 yesterday, 2-1 loss. It's only 3 runs. You'll take a lot of percentage of your time. So when you're not scoring runs, they hurt a little bit more.
Brandon Belt got the home run parade started for the Giants in the 2nd. A solo shot led off that inning. His 8th. This ball's popped up over the Giants on deck circle, and the seat's foul.
I mean, it's hard to fathom that Julio has not been out of the stretch in quite some time.
Yeah, since first inning.
And he's losing 3-1.
He's retired 16 of the last 19, and the only 3 he hasn't retired were solo homers.
And all of them led off the inning. And the dirt evens the count to Brandon Belt.
Well, like John said, they're all solos. You're only down 2. Got to get something going from the offense and have the pitcher spot in the top of the order coming up in the 7th, the bottom half.
Belt is down on strikes. Teheran's 6th strikeout, 1 away in the 7th. Here's Sandoval. Sandoval has popped out and struck out.
Greg Maddux used to say and talk about a formula for a pitcher to have a great year. You got to go 500 in your bad games. If you go 500 in your bad games, your good games typically are going to be rewarded because you're going to have your best stuff. You don't have your best stuff, but about 40% of the time when you think about the odds of every 5 days having your best stuff.
So 12 out of your 30 starts, you've got your A+ stuff.
Yeah, and you got to make the most of those. And what's a shame for early on for Julio Teheran is those 3 games that we saw, he didn't get enough credit in the win column to make that rule apply. I mean, he's yet to have a bad game that I've seen.
Yeah.
And so that statistic doesn't even come into play, and yet he could have a few losses already on the year. So,
and if you believe that the scale of balance will even out, there'll be a day where he gives up 5 and the team scores 8 for him.
Hopefully, exactly. Right? And that's where you've got to be there. That's why controlling your part of the game is so important, because if you're concerned about woe is me, every 5 days, 7 starts, I've only gotten 10 runs. The day you get those 6 runs and you give up 7, no one's going to feel sorry for you because you weren't there at that moment to deliver. So that's the way the game, can work. A rain out, something quirky, gets you out of that. It's amazing to me that every 5 days, now granted, he's facing the aces a lot, but it's amazing how every 5 days it could fall into that category. And it happens. Every year, every team has one. It happens.
Popped up left side. This is playable for Simmons. They'll call off Chris Johnson. And that's the 2nd out. Well, it's not just Teheran. Alex Woods had the same misfortune, too. He's pitched in a couple of great games. And he's going to get the ball here tomorrow afternoon. Madison Bumgarner, a real tough customer, goes for the Giants in the series finale here at Turner Field.
Yeah, 2 distinctly different mechanical deliveries to get the job done. Be interesting to watch the 2. One long arm, big guy, and Bumgarner, and then the herky jerky kind of Chris Sale, maybe funkiness, that he delivers in Alex Wood.
Well, I was just thinking that with the concert tonight, with Cool and the gang here, tomorrow with those 2 left-handers, it'd be like Funkicize.
Where's the cricket things for him? Come on, who's falling asleep over there? Why do I'm the only one that gets crickets?
Well,
all right, don't answer that.
You have to ask. Nothing in 1 for Brandon Crawford. San Francisco's a big market. This guy does a lot of good things on the baseball diamond. If he played in New York or Boston, I think a lot of fans would know a lot more about him. He might be on my all underrated team in the National League with Jonathan Lucroy in Milwaukee. Terrific catcher.
Robinson Cano in Seattle?
No. And a swing and a miss. Crawford is down on strike. 7 strikeouts for Teheran. But Michael Moore said, aha, it's another homer. It's 3-1 Giant. Jeremy Offeld is on for the 8th time.
Offeld worked last night. 2/3 of an inning, a hit and a couple of strikeouts. The hit he allowed was to Jason Hayward, who led off the inning against him. It looks like Tyler Pasternak is going to lead off the inning tonight in the 7th.
Well, Teheran pitched another outstanding game. 3 solo homers over his 7 innings of work. 4 hits. All 3 runs, of course, are earned. And as John and Joe said, he only pitched out of the stretch tonight for 1 batter. Incredible. Now we'll see if the Braves offense can bail him out tonight. Down 3-1.
They're really going to have to battle because this left-hander is one of the best in the game at holding the fort. There's statistical categories that matter for them, whether you buy into it or not, is holds. And of course, saves for the closer.
So Pasternak goes to work and cues 1 foul back to the screen. Strike 1.
A hold can be a little misleading as well. You could have a 4-run lead or 3-run lead, give up 2 and still get a hold. So take it for what it is. But the Giants are built for this kind of formula. Get good, solid starting pitching, which they haven't really gotten most of the year.
No, they haven't.
Turn it over to that bullpen, and then weapons galore.
Their bullpen has given up just 6 hits to the last 63 batters they've faced. So the Braves have an uphill challenge tonight. Pasternak broke his bat. Crawford at short, scoops and fires to first in time. 1 man down.
Crawford did something there on that ground ball chip that is kind of reminiscent of Andrelton Simmons and the way he swoops in on a ball that he's got to charge, and that is that he just runs with his glove down along the ground almost. Watch out right here. That glove is down, and as he's getting his body in front of it, the glove is still down. He doesn't stab at it. He's ready to pick it right there.
Well, he also knows he doesn't have to rush because he's got a cannon.
Yeah,
that is a luxury.
Jason Hayward's the batter. He's walked, stolen a base, scored, and doubled.
I'm impressed. He's obviously not bothered by things hitting him left and right cheek, left cheek. His hair just doesn't seem bothered by it.
You know, John, jealousy doesn't serve you well.
That's true.
As Hayward takes low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Phillies are leading Washington big tonight. That's 7-1 in the 6th at the Bank Vault. Dodgers 7-3 over the Marlins in the 7th. Mets 6-0 over the Rockies in the 4th.
I don't know. I don't know. You guys cover a lot more games. I get to watch some from afar, but I don't know if anyone has more pressure on him than Hayward. And the reason I say that is because I don't necessarily agree he's a leadoff hitter, but when he goes, you know, last year it seemed kind of in timing when he got hot. The Braves certainly got hot. His defense speaks for itself. I mean, tremendous defensive player. Whether or not he can stay healthy enough on a consistent basis, I just think, you know, in other lineups, it would be safe to say he wouldn't be batting leadoff.
I think that's accurate. I would agree with that. But who else? That's the problem.
I think Andrelton Simmons comes up only because of his contact ability, and he doesn't strike out much, whether or not he's a prototypical leadoff hitter.
Broken bats. Offeld's broken 2 bats in his debut tonight, and 2 quick outs.
But I guess my point is, when he's going so good, it eliminates the argument, it eliminates the discussion. You know, it's like power, speed, arm, defense. But when he's not, it really exasperates the situation for the Braves, because where would you, if he's going good, where would you care the least to face Jason Hayward?
Yeah,
in a leadoff spot.
B.J. Upton's the batter. He has the lone Braves RBI tonight. I think it'll be really interesting to see what kind of numbers Hayward puts up, assuming he can stay healthy and play 150 games. He's done that once in the big leagues. It was 2012, and he had a huge year. He's hit 27 homers, drove in 82, and scored 93. Played every game but 4. Last year, 104 games with the appendectomy and, of course, the Nice fastball to the face. And a strike for Upton, 2 balls and a strike to count. Is Jason Hayward a 25 homer, 80 RBI guy every year if he plays 150 games? Or is he more of a 14 homer, 60 RBI, 80-90 run guy as a leadoff hitter?
I think that's a fair question based on where he's batting determines the results.
I think that question's still to be determined pending some back-to-back 150 games played seasons. You have a better idea. Where there have been periods like last year when he was moved in the leadoff spot and hit 320 where you said, my gosh, that's perfect spot for him. Just outstanding.
What's interesting, and I know a lineup is just a lineup when it starts the game, because you typically may never lead off an inning after the very first time. But historically in the National League, because 8-9-1 doesn't have much traffic or base traffic on it, you're not going to get an opportunities to drive in 80-90 runs out of the leadoff spot. So if he is a 25 home run guy, or soon to be found in a couple of years, then that will determine whether he gets slotted down or not in the lineup.
Fly ball pretty well hit to right. Hunter Pence is going to have plenty of room, and Affeldt works a scoreless 7. The Giants bullpen continues its terrific run. Affeldt gets Atlanta 1-2-3 in the 7th.
Radar, although so much focus on RISP, is the fact that first and third, nobody out after tying the game, and not another runner scored. That, to me, was a big pivotal part in the game, where momentum and pitch selection and all the different things that can change, you know.
And an inning before that in the second, let's not forget about the great double play started by Pablo Sandoval on the Chris Johnson smash to third. Braves had runners first and second. Couldn't break through there after Belt started the game in the top of the inning with a solo homer. So David Carpenter's on the hill. Brandon Hicks, the former Brave, leads off the Giants' 8th. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Broken bat fly ball to right. Hayward says he's got it in. He does. Good start for Carpenter in the 8th. 1 man down.
See, but even in those situations with a great double play, that's something out of your control. You hit the ball hard. The guy made a great play, turned to double play. First and third, they didn't hit the ball again. You got 2 strikeouts and a throwout, you know, a double play and a steal. So those are the. It's weird to think. I've been on the bench so many times when you go through slumps and you go, please hit into a double play, because we got to lead 2-1. You're like, you'll trade 2 outs for a run. I know that sounds crazy because everyone wants to put a crooked number up there, but you find yourself in moments going, please just hit it to shortstop. Even though we turn 2, it's a 2-1 game.
Yeah.
And you go through funks like that as a team, and it magnifies itself, I guess is what I'm trying to say. When those situations more times than not are going to produce a run.
Gregor Blanco's in a funk to start the year. He's begun the season 4 for his first 32 at the plate. This guy's been a real valuable pickup for the Giants the last couple of years.
Played real well for him.
At 265 last year, played 141 games. He's done that each of the last 2 seasons for the Giants. Gregor was a lifelong Brave until Atlanta traded him to Kansas City in 2010. And a swing and a miss. Gregor, 30 years old now. His birthday is Christmas Eve. He'll be 31 this year. Carpenter's got a good fastball tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Sure does. Learning curve has been pretty incredible for this guy. I mean, he's not pitched his whole life. You know, making that transformation, and a great arm, and learning how to do certain things every year a little bit better.
Whatever he may be missing on the learning curve. Tough to teach 95 and 96, isn't it?
That's exactly right.
Full count for Gregor Blanco. Don't want to walk him. But Carpenter did. Ball 4 inside. And Blanco with good speeds aboard. In the top of the order now for the Giants.
One stolen base this year for Blanco, but always a threat to go, and especially with a 2-run lead. Wouldn't surprise me at all to see Bruce Bochy put him in action. This guy at the plate, Angel Pagan, has really made himself into a good player too. When he was with the Mets, I thought he might be kind of a 4th outfielder type, but after getting traded to the Giants and getting some regular play, he's made himself into a really good player.
Pagan originally a Mets draft pick, as Carpenter almost threw that one into the seats.
I agree, Joe. I don't know if the timing, the World Baseball Classic and his emergence, you know, when he goes and plays with his country, I noticed him more there. I noticed the type of player he could be, and certainly they missed him when he was hurt, and he's turned into a pretty darn good player.
Yeah, 71 games last year for Pagan. His first year with the Giants was 2012. He hit .288, an astounding 15 triples and 38 doubles. Scored 95 runs that year, the most he's ever scored in a single big league season. Oh, and 2.
That was a funny swing.
Yeah.
Here's something else. Think about all the great players that have played for the Giants. Angel Pagan holds the longest home hitting streak in the history of the Giants franchise.
Wow.
Not Willie McCovey, not Willie Mays.
31.
28 home games for Pagan.
I think I remember that. Wasn't too far off anyway.
And if you carry it out a little further, he had a hit in 47 of 50 games.
Well, you mentioned the triples and the doubles. Great part for him.
Yeah. The 15 triples mark beat the record held jointly by Steve Finley and Willie Mays in Giants history from 1958 forward. That's when they moved to the West Coast. One ball, 2 strikes. Blanco a good lead at first, big lead at first. Double play ball would be nice. And out of play again. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
One of the most common mistakes a pitcher, everyone's guilty of it at some point. When you want to throw a pitch out, you speed up your delivery to throw a pitch out. That's when you want the runner to go. That's when you want to be a little bit less quick, let the runner go, because you got the advantage of the pitch out. And it's so hard to be patient and throw a pitch out, and that seems to speed up the mechanics from time to time on pitchers.
Runner goes. Swing and a drive down the right field line. Hayward on the run. Excellent jump. In the corner. He's there. And back to first is Blanco as Pagan gave it a ride, but he's retired for the second out.
Not only that, John, but sometimes using a slide step on a pitch out. I mean, it's just an immediate tip off to the base runner if he is going.
Here's Hunter Pence.
I mean, he really does have a look about him tonight that's very unique.
Heard the expression, all elbows and kneecaps?
Yeah.
John, I don't know if you knew this, but a couple of years ago when Joe and I were in Houston, we watched Hunter Pence, who has such an odd stance and odd setup and odd practice swing. Joe said, and it was a great nickname, he said, he looks like a praying mantis.
Yeah, I totally agree. I in the most flattering of compliments.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He also had a teammate had that base stolen, but he couldn't lay off the first pitch. Huge jump the last pitch, but Hunter went after it, fouled it off.
When you see a guy who looks so odd at the plate, does that mess you up as a pitcher? Does it play with you? How do I get this guy out?
Yeah, that, you know, he's not in the same category, but a guy like Vladimir Guerrero used to come to mind because he was such a bad ball hitter. Like you're like, what do I do? Do I throw it down the middle? You hit it off the shoot top. This is the kind of guy he is. You know, he's unorthodox, the funky swing. You get to balls that you shouldn't get to and miss balls that maybe he shouldn't miss. Swing like that one time, maybe Willie McGee more from a standpoint of look really ugly and then come back with the same pitch and he hits it out of the park.
We said last night, this is not what you would teach your kid at the plate.
No.
But the results are what you dream about having. And Pence is retired. A good fastball from Carpenter sets down the Giants in the 8th. 3, 4, and 5 up for Atlanta. It's getting late at Turner Field. Jeremy Affeldt back out there for the Giants. With all the right-handed bats coming up after Freeman, I would think their bullpen would be busy. And low, ball 2. A bloop and a blast would be just fine.
Yeah, some way to give this guy an ERA would accomplish something to start.
He's been in 7 games and he's thrown 8 innings, so it's not that often that he goes multiple innings. He had the whole inning in the 7th, and it could be that Freddie's the only guy he'll face this inning. They've got Machi up in the bullpen, as you suggested, Chip.
Two and 2. That's outside. 3 and 2.
I think as a hitter, I'd be distracted by the hat that Jeremy Affeldt is wearing. They've all got him on, but it looks like the hat they use for the Stan Musial statue in St. Louis.
Bouncer foul. Freeman's still alive. One of these uniforms will be sent to the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. The Giants representing the 1946 San Francisco Sea Lions of the West Coast Negro Baseball League. Braves wearing the Atlanta Black Crackers uniforms. And there's a start. Freeman walks, and that'll be the last batter for Affeldt. All righties coming up for Atlanta. And now Gene Machi will get the summons from Bruce Bochy. He's the Giants skipper. And the game on the bases and in the batter's box for Atlanta. The Thumpers are coming up. Tying run coming to the plate.
If you did, I know this guy couldn't catch you.
No. He's
John
up there.
Machi, 6 feet, 255 pounds. And he has been on fire himself. 13 innings, 10 strikeouts.
You know, it's 92 plus mile an hour fastball, but his splitter is the go-to pitch. And the slider has good depth. Comes right over the top.
He is a well-fed vulture out of the Giants bullpen. He's 4-0, fellas.
Their bullpen's 9-0. He's out of Venezuela. He's been with 3 or 4 different organizations, but just got to the big leagues with the Giants for brief times 2 years ago and a little longer last year.
Double play ball. Crawford to Hicks to Belt. And up in the Braves doubled up.
Yeah, he likes going to it. It's rare that you throw that many to right-handed hitters, but his arm angle and the way the ball comes out, you can see the ball tumble down just right there enough to get on the end of the barrel of the bat. And an easy 6-4-3.
Not surprising that the Giants have a guy that utilizes the split finger. Roger Craig.
Yeah,
he's the old Giant manager and pitching coach. Employed that pitch a lot. Here's Gaddis. Base is empty. 3 double plays for the Braves offense tonight. Gaddis struck out into one in the pivotal 3rd inning for the Braves. And a strike. Backhanded try by Crawford. And a perfect throw. Boy, Machi was impressive. A double play ground ball to short and a regular old ground out to end the 8th. 3-1 Giants.
His second relief appearance since going to the bullpen. His other one at Miami in long relief. 2 1/3 innings, 3 hits, no runs or walks, 2 strikeouts.
Braves have a decision to make tomorrow. Not only will we see Wood and Bumgarner, but Gavin Floyd's going to be activated. The Braves still have not figured out what role he will occupy, whether in rotation or in the bullpen. And when Gavin Floyd is placed on the roster, obviously someone else will have to go. Don't know who that'll be. But the bigger question is not who's going to fill a spot in rotation. It's who's going to provide some offense. The Braves just another run on 5-hit night. Hale versus Posey. And a ground ball to short. Sunday hop on a Saturday night. And Posey's retired, 1 out. So David Hale, back-to-back outings out of the bullpen, Jen.
Yeah, and I talked to Freddie Gonzalez about Hale moving to the bullpen. He said he feels good about it, and he said he's done it before. He did it in the minors, and I also talked to David's parents when he was starting here last week, and they said in the situation he was in then, knowing he might lose a starting spot, they said he's prepared for it. He can handle these kind of situations. Kind of seems to go with the flow.
Joaquin Arias, his first at bat of the game, took over on the lineup for the Giants. For Pablo Sandoval, he bats in Michael Morse's spot.
The ball is coming out of his hand beautifully tonight.
He has a such an easy motion with kind of a low 3/4 ball, kind of quickly gets on the hitter.
To right. And Hayward is there. He'll gather it in with two hands. Arias guys out, 2 down.
I would say for his success rate down, knees down, he's very good. It complements his slider, off-speed pitches. He can get away with a little bit up, but if he pitched up in the zone, that 90 would look a little different. Trying to explain to people, when you play catch with certain guys, they have that extra life. The ball, you go to catch it and the ball gets to your glove quicker than you catch it. Well, so much for that with 2 outs.
Sometimes the inning gets to you quicker than you anticipate too.
Yeah, gets you right in the pocket.
It's amazing. 5-pitch inning for David Hale. Last chance for the Braves in the ninth. 3-1 Giants. 8 for 8.
Last night was the best I've seen him throw in a little while. He used his fastball more than you typically see him. He loves that slider / slurve, and he made some clutch pitches against the heart of the order last night against the Braves.
Yeah, like I said, I thought that was an outstanding pitch and call by the catcher for that pitch for the last out. To strike out Justin.
So the same scenario for Atlanta in the ninth. A bloop and a blast would tie the game. Chris Johnson, Dan Uggla, Andrelton Simmons, the first 3. Here's what Romo did last night. John, does that bottom number give you any more or less hope for the Braves?
No, I mean, 24 is not bad. I think if you can get him back in the 20s tonight, it might have a better cumulative effect, but not just that number last night.
Pop fly foul over the tarp and into the seats. Chris Johnson quickly down 0-2.
And I would guess that it would have more of an effect on a guy who relies on his fastball more than this guy does. You know, somebody that's supposed to be a flamethrower 94, 95, and all of a sudden tonight maybe doesn't have that gas. This guy's on the corners, slider, changeup.
What a find he's turned out to be for the Giants. Sergio Romo. Missed Johnson, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Kind of ascended to this role, though. He was a real good setup guy and worked behind Brian Wilson there for a while, for several years, and when Wilson got hurt, he stepped right in.
Strike 3, a front door breaking ball.
Oh,
Johnson
boy.
backed away, 1 down.
Yeah, he had him flinching. It was such a sweeper. Watch Chris.
That's a mistake front door slider,
Yeah,
but nonetheless, it's a tough pitch to hit. It's a pitch that a lot of guys would have never thrown a few years ago, and it's become one of those pitches that if you can control it, it virtually makes it hard for the right-handed hitter to not buckle your knee or move at all.
Well, he got Justin Upton looking last night. It wasn't a breaking ball, I don't believe, but a good live fastball after everything was away.
Right.
So here's Uggla. Bases empty, 1 out in the ninth.
Buster Posey did a good job on that last pitch too, of making that still look like a strike. Even though he was set up away, he was able to hold the glove even to kind of a backhand in the zone long enough to get the call.
Right there at 87 miles an hour, even count.
Yeah, he's defied some of the theory that, you know, just because you're a successful setup man doesn't mean you're going to be a successful closer. But he certainly has stepped into the role and hasn't missed too many beats.
Well fouled by Uggla, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
The reception and movement is so far more important to him than velocity. His arm swing and the way that he comes at the hitter, it almost makes for a smooth, kind of quick breaking ball that he can at times throw 7 in a row, 6 in a row.
Ooh. Another breaking ball. This one missed outside. 2-2.
That was a really good one.
I mean, he's making it break from one batter's box, really the inside corner, off the plate, outside, off the plate. That is a big one.
It's his arm angle that helps that kind of sweeping motion.
Down and in for Ugla.
Buster helped him on one and might have hurt him on that one. The way he caught that one could have cost him a strike. Kind of handcuffed him a little bit.
Romo normally has pinpoint control. He did walk a man last night. He's a pitch away from doing that for Dan Ugla here in the 9th. Bouncing ball toward third. Arias has it, loads up, and gets his man for the second out.
Shows you how much confidence he has in that pitch. 3-2. Up by 2 runs. You typically don't want to walk anybody, but he knows he can throw that pitch close enough to a strike to a hitter that's probably going to swing. It's a great feeling for a pitcher to have.
And he can't tie the game.
Right.
Even on a mistake.
Lower 3/4, not his best slider, but you can see what the hitter's looking at.
Look at that thing break. Wow. Strike one. A walk, a flyout, and a strikeout for Andrelton Simmons. He's the last hope for the Braves in the 9th.
Now, earlier in the game, I talked about feet placement on the rubber. He's an exception to the rule. He's on the first base side of the rubber, and he's able to, because of that arm angle, throw almost across his body, but because of the way he sweeps his arm, it's as if the foot was in the middle of the rubber. Typically, with the way he throws that slider, you would want an advantage on the third base side, but his arm angle actually, even though his foot doesn't move, brings him closer to that spot, which he kind of defies the theory of that kind of slider being from the first base side of the rubber.
Ground ball to short. Crawford, 360 spin. What a play to end the game. Brandon Crawford puts on a show at short, and the Giants have beaten the Braves tonight by a final score of 3-1. Sensational finish for the Giants, and the Braves offense